If you or a loved one are struggling with type 2 diabetes, you should visit the link in the description below. This clinically proven, drug-free program lowers blood sugar to a normal level and can completely reverse type 2 diabetes within just a few weeks. Here's today's video.
The question, how do I manage my diabetes naturally? Answer by Akashdeep Sarkar. 5-step plan to reverse diabetes. Step 1. Remove those foods to reverse diabetes naturally. Certain foods negatively affect your blood sugar levels, cause inflammation and trigger immune responses. To reverse diabetes naturally, the first step is to remove these foods from your diet. Step 2. Incorporate these foods to treat diabetes. To reverse or prevent type 2 diabetes, add the following foods into your diet. Step 3. Take these supplements for diabetes. 1. Chromium picolinate. Taking 200 micrograms of chromium picolinate 3 times daily with meals can help improve insulin sensitivity. A review published in Diabetes Technology and Therapeutics evaluated 13 studies that reported significant improvement in glycemic control and substantial reductions in hyperglycemia and hyperinsulinemia after patients used chromium picolinate supplementation. Other positive outcomes from supplementing with chromium picolinate included reduced cholesterol and triglyceride levels and reduced requirements for hypoglycemic medication. 12.2. Cinnamon. Cinnamon has the ability to lower blood sugar levels and improve your sensitivity to insulin. A study conducted at Western University of Health Sciences in Pomona, California, found that the consumption of cinnamon is associated with a statistically significant decrease in plasma glucose levels, LDL cholesterol and triglyceride levels. Cinnamon consumption also helped increase HDL cholesterol levels. 13. To take advantage of the many health benefits of cinnamon, add 1 teaspoon to food, smoothies or tea. You can also take 1 to 2 drops of cinnamon essential oil internally by adding it to food or tea, or combine 3 drops of cinnamon oil with half a teaspoon of coconut oil and massage it into your wrists and abdomen. 3. Fish oil. Taking a fish oil supplement can help improve markers of diabetes by reducing triglyceride levels and raising HDL cholesterol levels. Research published in the Journal of Research in Medical Sciences shows that omega-3 fatty acids found in fish oil are necessary for proper insulin function, preventing insulin intolerance and reducing inflammation. 14. To use fish oil as a natural remedy for diabetes, take 1,000 milligrams daily. 4. Alpha-lipoic acid. Alpha-lipoic acid is an antioxidant that helps turn glucose into fuel for the body. It effectively improves insulin sensitivity and reduces symptoms of diabetic neuropathy, such as weakness, pain and numbness that's caused by nerve damage. Although we make alpha-lipoic acid and it can be found in some food sources, like broccoli, spinach and tomatoes, taking an ALA supplement will increase the amount that circulates in your body, which can be extremely beneficial when trying to reverse diabetes naturally. 15. 5. Bitter melon extract. Bitter melon helps lower blood glucose levels, and it regulates the body's use of insulin. Studies show that bitter melon extract can help reduce and manage symptoms of diabetes, including insulin resistance, heart complications, kidney damage, blood vessel damage, eye disorders and hormone irregularities. 16. Step 4. Follow this eating plan to reverse diabetes. If you want to balance your blood sugar and see results quickly, then follow this diabetes eating plan as closely as possible. Focus on getting plenty of clean protein, healthy fats and fiber into every meal, which can help reverse diabetes. Start by trying these first 3 days of the plan, and then use a combination of these foods going forward. Review the list of foods that you should be eating from step 2, and bring those healthy, diabetes-fighting foods into your diet as well. It may seem like a major change to your diet at first, but after some time you will begin to notice the positive effects these foods are having on your body. Some other recipes that fit into this eating plan include: Step 5. Exercise to balance blood sugar. Exercise reduces chronic disease and can help reverse diabetes naturally. Studies show that exercise improves blood glucose control and can prevent or delay type 2 diabetes, while also positively affecting your blood pressure, heart health, cholesterol levels and quality of life. 17. Exercise naturally supports your metabolism by burning fat and building lean muscle. To prevent and reverse diabetes, make exercise a part of your daily routine. This doesn't necessarily mean that you have to spend time at the gym. Simple forms of physical activity, like getting outside and walking for 20 to 30 minutes every day, can be extremely beneficial, especially after meals. Practicing yoga or stretching at home or in a studio is another great option. In addition to walking and stretching exercises, try interval training cardio, like burst training, or weight training 3 to 5 days a week for 20-40 minutes. Burst training can help you burn up to 3 times more body fat than traditional cardio and can naturally increase insulin sensitivity. You can do this on a spin bike with intervals, or you can try burst training at home. Strength training using free weights or machines is also recommended because it helps you build and maintain muscle, which supports balanced blood sugar and sugar metabolism. Answer by Abhinav Jain. Diabetes is one of the oldest diseases known to man. As is so often the case, illnesses that are probably diabetes can be found in the medical writings of all 3 great Oriental medical traditions, the Egyptian, the Indian and the Chinese. An Egyptian medical papyrus from the 2nd millennium BCE describes weight loss and 2 great emptying of the urine, which is believed to be type 1 or insulin-dependent diabetes. Indian writers around this time noted that the urine of some sick people would attract ants, and suggested they had the disease of Madama or honey urine. 2 types of honey urine disease were recognized by Indian physicians around 400 CE. One type began in youth and the other was associated with obesity, and these were likely what we call type 1 and 2 diabetes today. The earliest textbook of Chinese medicine, the Nei Jing or Yellow Emperor's Inner Classic from about 2000 BCE, identifies 3 types of xiaoqi or wasting and thirsting, generally associated with tang nao bing or sugary urine. The Indian and Chinese observations were codified in the systems of Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine, which have detailed and still valuable methods for the treatment of what is now recognized as diabetes. The Western medical tradition came to recognize diabetes a little later. The extensive writings of Hippocrates make no mention of diabetes, suggesting that it was not considered treatable even if recognized. Around 250 BCE, the Greek physician Apollonius of Memphis named the condition of weakness and excessive urination diabetes, from the word for siphon, as urine in these patients seemed to be poured from a siphon. Aretaeus of Cappadocia, who first described migraine, is also credited with the first Western account of diabetes, which he attempted unsuccessfully to manage with diet and which he concluded made life short, disgusting and painful. Galen, the preeminent Roman physician, knew of the disease but said late in his career that he had only seen 2 cases, either because it was called something else or perhaps due to differences in the Roman diet. The Arabic medical tradition also contributed to the understanding of diabetes. Avicenna's Canon of Medicine, composed in 1025 but studied through the Middle Ages in European universities, described the sweet taste of diabetic urine and recorded abnormal appetite and the collapse of sexual functions. Avicenna also recognized the occurrence of gangrene in people with diabetes, and treated the condition with some success with herbs which decreased the urinary sugar content and which are sometimes still used today: sedori seed or white turmeric, trigonella, fenugreek, and the type of beans called lupini in Europe. Avicenna observed that in some cases of diabetes the urine was water-like and not sweet. This was recognized about 500 years later as diabetes insipidus, inability to concentrate urine usually due to disease of the pituitary gland. Modern medical understanding of diabetes began in 1674, when Thomas Willis distinguished diabetes insipidus with watery urine from diabetes mellitus with sweet urine. Matthew Dobson showed in 1776 that the sweetness was due to sugar and that there was excessive sugar in the blood as well. Minkowski and von Mering reported in 1889 that dogs developed the signs and symptoms of diabetes and died quickly after the pancreas was removed. Sir Edward Sharpie Schaefer, considered the founder of the medical specialty of endocrinology, proposed at the beginning of the 20th century the concept of endocrine glands, that controlled the function of other organs by the production of hormones, and identified adrenaline produced by the adrenal glands. He suggested in 1910 that a similar hormone was produced to regulate blood sugar by island-like clumps of cells that had been discovered in the pancreas some years before, and proposed that the hormone be called insulin. Insulin evaded isolation for about a decade, until Frederick Banting and Charles Best were able in 1921 to reverse the effects of pancreas removal in dogs by giving them an extract of these cells from other dogs, and then in 1922 to purify the hormone and treat humans with diabetes. Banting and John Loud, in whose Toronto laboratory the work was done, received the Nobel Prize the next year but insisted tea had it be shared with Best. a medical student working with Banting, and James Collett, the chemist who purified the insulin. Banting made the patented insulin available without charge throughout the world, and 25,000 diabetics in the United States and Canada were receiving insulin by 1923. It is understandable that World Diabetes Day has since then been observed on Sir Frederick Banting's birthday, November 14. Sir Harry Himsworth confirmed in 1936 the difference suggested by Avicenna 9 centuries earlier between diabetes caused by the absence of insulin, more common in children and called juvenile diabetes or type 1, and type 2 diabetes, in which the ability of the pancreas to produce insulin is exhausted or outpaced by obesity. This led to the development of other treatments for diabetes beside the injection of insulin, with the first oral drug for diabetes being introduced in 1942. Drugs followed which enhanced the release of insulin by the pancreas. Some sulfa antibiotics were found to lower blood sugar, and led to the development of the sulfonylurea family that includes Oronase amdglucotrol. Members of the lily family have traditionally been used in the management of diabetes, and some compounds from the French lily plant were being tested in the 1920s but were forgotten after the purification of insulin. Other lily derivatives were found to increase sensitivity to insulin and make it more effective in lowering blood sugar, and some of these became fenformin, later withdrawn, and metformin. A third class of insulin alternatives or supplements, the thiazolid metionase or glutathione drugs, were introduced in the 1990s and enhanced the effects of insulin on fat metabolism as well as blood sugar. Although a great breakthrough, insulin in its early years was sometimes difficult to use and sometimes required frequent injections with resultant complications. The Danish pharmaceutical company Novo Nordisk devoted itself largely to diabetes research after 1923, and by the 1940s had developed long-acting insulin. The chemical structure of insulin was determined by Frederick Sanger in the 1950s, which led by the 1980s to the synthetic production of insulin by genetically altered bacteria. Sanger was awarded a Nobel Prize and a knighthood for this and other work. He declined the knighthood but accepted the Nobel Prize. A third diabetes-related Nobel Prize was given to Rosalind Yalow in 1977 for developing a means of measuring extremely small concentrations of insulin. The radioimmunoassay also allowed other hormones to be measured and has facilitated the treatment of many immune diseases such as allergies and multiple sclerosis. Following the example of Banting, the discoverers of this assay method did not patent it. Although the first advances in diabetes treatment were directed at the usually fatal type 1 disease, it has come to be recognized that type 2 diabetes, with insufficient or ineffective insulin, may present a greater problem for society in the long term. Numerous studies and government statistics indicate that the incidence of diabetes, particularly type 2 diabetes, is going up in the developed countries and is particularly increasing in the United States. This appears to be driven primarily by an increase in obesity, which is considered by many endocrinologists and obesity specialists to represent an epidemic. A relationship between obesity and diabetes was recognized in ancient times, but the effects of overweight on blood sugar regulation, and the effect of insulin on the storage and burning of fat, has been the subject of extensive study since the metabolic syndrome was described by endocrinologist Gerald Reaven in 1988. The metabolic syndrome combines obesity, diabetes and increased cholesterol levels as well as the excess of bad cholesterol over good, and its rapidly increasing incidence threatens serious public health problems in the future. It is clear that weight and cholesterol and diabetes problems are linked, and that the people most able to do something about them are the ones who are developing problems. The importance of people taking a proactive role in preventing diabetes and metabolic syndrome from developing, and in doing something about them if they do, is underscored by the inevitable problems that have arisen as the options for medical treatment of diabetes have expanded. There is a wide range of insulin products available, and a number of ways of taking insulin, but no external form of insulin has yet approached the body's normal ability to regulate blood sugar and the metabolism of carbohydrates and fats, and there is always the possibility of adverse effects or complications because an injection is an injection. Several of the oral drugs for diabetes have had to be withdrawn over the years on account of side effects and problems, and the ones that remain are still dogged by worries about the development of heart disease and whether long-term use of oral diabetic medication will accelerate the loss of insulin-producing cells in the pancreas. In addition, the landmark Diabetes Control and Complication Trial, carried out between 1983 and 1993 in about 1,500 people with type 1 diabetes in the United States and Great Britain indicated that, although maintenance of blood sugar concentrations as close to normal as possible with careful measurement and insulin administration reduced the rate at which people developed complications such as retinopathy and neuropathy. Severe episodes of hypoglycemia were frequent with tight blood sugar control, and this did not seem to change the long-term occurrence of heart disease and related complications. This means that more needs to be done to prevent hypoglycemia that can cause significant problems and to reduce the long-term risk of heart disease. And this may best be done by the people who have to live with diabetes. The following sections will review current information about how diabetes arises and who gets diabetes and why, as well as discussing briefly some current approaches to the treatment of the condition. The diagnosis and medical treatment of diabetes with insulin or oral medications, as well as the management of complications of diabetes, will have to remain the responsibility of the primary care physician and, if difficulties arise, of the diabetes specialist. There is much that can be done, however, by people who have diabetes, who care for people who have diabetes or who do not wish to have diabetes in the future. And much of this information has been known since the days of Avicenna and Aristeas and the Yellow Emperor. We will try in the pages to come to identify ways in which people can use diet, nutritional supplements, herbal and other natural medicines, homeopathic remedies and various kinds of body work to reduce the chances of getting diabetes and metabolic syndrome, to improve their control of its symptoms and complications and to improve their health, well-being and quality of life. How homeopathic remedies are made. Homeopathic medicines are made by dissolving animal, mineral or vegetable material, usually in alcohol, to make a mother tincture. The tincture can be used medicinally in some cases, but it is more often diluted with alcohol or distilled water as many times as desired. Dilution can also be preceded by titration, or grinding with a mortar and pestle or some modern replacement, which is the way medicines have traditionally been prepared. Information of some kind is transferred from the active molecules to the carrier substance through the process of potentization or dynamization. This has traditionally been done by shaking the vials in which dilution was carried out, or by striking them against the hand or book, but is now largely done commercially with mechanical succession devices. The dilution and potentization of homeopathic remedies was standardized by the Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of the United States in the 19th century, and the pharmacopoeia has been regulated since 1988 by the Food and Drug Administration. The remedies are specified as to potency by the number of potentization steps and a letter indicating the degree of dilution at each step. The decimal potencies involve 1/10 dilution and are indicated by X. The centesimal potencies are made by diluting 1/100 and are indicated by C, and millesimal preparations, 1/1000 dilution, are labeled M. The greatest potency is 1/50,000 dilution, which is labeled LM or in euro BQ, for quinquagesimillesimal. Thus, a remedy with 12x potency has been diluted 1 drop of tincture to 9 drops of water or alcohol and then succussed 12 different times, and a 30c potency has on 30 successive occasions been diluted 1 drop to 99 and then succussed. European preparations are sometimes labeled D for decimal, and the letters and numbers are sometimes reversed, so that D5 or D10 are the same as 5x or 10x. Remedies for diabetes. Closely related to essential oils are preparations of flower essence made by suspending various flowers in water for several hours, then collecting and bottling the water or making an alcohol-based tincture of the flower with water. The best known of these preparations are 38 essences developed in the 1930s by Dr. Edward Bach. He pronounced it Bach, a British physician and bacteriologist who miraculously recovered after the resection of a malignant abdominal tumor and devoted the remainder of his life to homeopathic medicine and the search for a natural method of treating the whole person. Bach concluded that a patient's spiritual and emotional state determined whether and how completely recovery from illness would occur, and found that the essences of wildflowers collected on the Oxfordshire farm to which he retired after closing his lucrative London practice could affect the necessary emotional change. The Bach system was further refined by Dr. Richard Katz in California in the 1970s, Flower Essence System, and Australian herbalist Ian White has derived a collection of 69 therapeutic essences from bush flowers on that continent. The view of most natural medicine practitioners who use flower essence therapies is that people are better able to manage their diabetes, have fewer stress-related problems and complications, and feel and function better despite their illness if they are as free as possible from emotional upset and conflict. flower essence as work by allowing suppressed emotions and conflicts to be expressed and resolved, and are thought to help addiction by alleviating chronic emotional upset that triggers cravings and use. Bach combined 5 essences in a combination product that remains the best-selling alternative medicine product in the United Kingdom. The conclusion: diabetes is a chronic and sometimes lifelong illness that requires medical evaluation and usually some form of medical treatment. There is often no alternative to the replacement of insulin ordinarily secreted by the pancreas, and even in type 2 diabetes in which some insulin production persists, medical intervention is often needed because of the effects of diabetes on other organs and systems and because of the increasingly recognized and increasingly frequent association of diabetes with the metabolic syndrome of obesity, high blood pressure and elevated and abnormal blood fats. This does not mean, however, that the management of diabetes depends entirely on the diagnostic tests, laboratory measurements and prescription drug treatment of conventional medicine, or that there is not an important role for patients and their families in the long-term care of this illness. An informed and empowered patient is in many ways the most important caregiver in diabetes as in most other chronic illnesses, and the renewed interest in alternative, complementary or holistic medical techniques that has characterized the last half-century in both American and European medicine has much to offer in diabetes treatment, particularly at a time when the cost of treatments relative to their benefits is receiving particular attention. Homeopathy is an inexpensive and safe means of alternative medical treatment or of self-treatment by informed patients. There is now evidence from controlled trials that these highly diluted medicines do work, and the old complaint that there is nothing in them because of the extensive dilution has been disproved by new techniques of physical science that show that the structure of water molecules in these preparations is changed in subtle ways that can impart a specific signal to body tissues and initiate their healing processes. The World Health Organization has suggested that homeopathy should be more widely available and extensively used, and a number of homeopathic remedies appear to work for diabetes because they cause increases in insulin production or effect, correct deficiencies in trace metals and other factors that are necessary for the chemical reactions by which sugars are broken down and stored by the body or prevent the accumulation of harmful fats, gradual blockage of blood vessels and damage to nerves, kidneys, eyes and other organs as diabetes progresses. Homeopathic medicines can usually be taken with prescription drugs for diabetes and other conditions, but preferably no at the same time. Diagnosing and treating diabetes must remain the responsibility of medicine and medical professionals. Managing the symptoms and problems and living well with the condition is the responsibility and the opportunity of the person with diabetes. We hope that this little volume will make these a little easier, more interesting and even more enjoyable. Answer by Vaibhav Gupta. Diabetes is a disease characterized by abnormally high blood sugar. It happens when the body produces less insulin which converts blood sugar into energy. Due to the reduced ability to convert blood sugar into energy, level of blood sugar increases and this condition is known as diabetes and it is very common in India. Diabetes is of two types: type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. Here is a list of most effective natural home remedies to cure diabetes. If diabetes is not properly controlled, it can lead to complications like heart disease, kidney disease, and nerve damage. One should definitely include these natural home remedies in their diabetes meal plan. Treatment often includes medications and insulin injections, but many people are also interested in natural home remedies for diabetes that can help lower blood sugar. 1. Cinnamon, Dalchini. Cinnamon has various medical values. It helps in lowering blood sugar and fight against diabetes. It is rich in iron, calcium, high in fiber and even manganese, which gives it the name of superfood. It is inexpensive, has no side effects, and has a host of health benefits. As little as a half teaspoon of cinnamon powder daily can have positive effects on blood sugar levels, digestion, immunity and more. However, stronger doses will lower the risk of heart disease and cut your risk of diabetes, cancer and other diseases. You can use cinnamon in your daily cooking or can use it in powder form with warm water. 2. Jamun. Jamun is an important summer fruit, associated with many health and medicinal benefits. Diabetic patients can consume jamun fruit daily to control their sugar levels, which certainly helps to enhance the insulin activity and sensitivity. The powder of jamun seeds can also be taken as an adjuvant for all types of diabetic patients. Eating jamun or using the powder of jamun seeds in smoothies can be a great help. 3. Vitamin C. Vitamin C reduces the risk of diabetes. It also helps diabetics in reducing stress and anxiety and stopping the damaged blood vessels by diabetes. Lemons, limes, oranges, grapefruits, leafy greens etc. are a good source of vitamin C. Adding fresh lemon juice to hot tea may help. Vitamin C has other health benefits as well. It takes an active part in many metabolic and immune system functions. It deals with various functions like absorbing of iron, healing of wounds, forming collagen, ensuring proper functioning of immune system and maintaining the good health of cartilage, bones, and teeth. As diabetic patients have decreased levels of antioxidants, their body cells may die at a faster rate and they need powerful antioxidants like vitamin C. You can get your daily intake of vitamin C from fruits/vegetables, or you can take some high-quality vitamin C supplement. 4. Bitter gourd, Kerala. Bitter gourd or bitter melon, Kerala, juice is the best natural medicine for diabetes. Drinking it early in the morning on an empty stomach helps lower your blood sugar levels and reduces the possibility of diabetes-related health complications like weight gain, heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, etc. Analysis of bitter melon indicates that it is very high in antioxidants, which helps against free radicals damages. You can include bitter gourd curry in your diet and also drink Kerala daily. 5. Fenugreek Methi. Fenugreek, if consumed after meals, helps in treating diabetes by lowering the blood sugar levels. The seeds of fenugreek also help in improving the uses of sugar and also increases the amount of insulin which is released in the body. According to studies, the seeds have the ability to reduce the blood sugar level. Usage of fenugreek seeds in supplements and recipes or by drinking as a tea helps get you a control over your blood sugar level. 6. Indian gooseberry, Amla. Amla, the fruit of Indian gooseberry tree, is a traditional and good remedy for controlling high blood sugar levels. The story of Amla is also a part of Hindu philosophy. It was the time when this universe was just at information, God and demon were fighting. Suddenly, from the vast Milky Way, a few drops of Amrit fell on Earth. In this modern world, those drops were called as Amla because it was regarded as immortality fruit. Amla has many medicinal values. A bowl full of amla berries can help to get relief from diabetes. Taking 2 teaspoons of amla juice with a pinch turmeric early morning helps a lot. 7. Curry leaves. A belief is among the scientists that the Indian curry leaf, which is used in various curry dishes, has great values and healing functions. It contains an agent which lowers the rate of the starch to glucose breakdown process for people with diabetes. The leaves have the power to control the amount of glucose which is entering the bloodstream. It also influences the metabolism of carbohydrates. They help in restoring liver and kidney enzymes which are responsible for the breakdown of carbohydrates back to their normal levels. This entire process helps in treating diabetes. Curry leaves can be used regularly in cooking for better results. 8. Aloe vera. Aloe vera is widely considered as a herbal, but do you know aloe vera is also very efficient for diabetes? In the recent studies, it has been found that aloe vera juice also helps in improving blood glucose levels and thus will be helpful in curing diabetes. One should definitely add aloe vera juice in their diabetes meal plan. 9. Guava. People who have type 2 diabetes, guava is a superfood for them. Guava has a high amount of dietary fiber, a high concentration of lycopene, and enriched with a good amount of potassium and vitamin C. All these nutrients are helpful in maintaining the blood sugar level. You can eat the fruit guava or can drink guava leaf tea. Boil 1 tablespoon of crushed guava leaves in hot water. Let it steep for 5 minutes, and then strain it. Drink this tea once daily. 10. Okra. People who are at a risk of diabetes or cancer, okra works as a https://trendpickle.com/mosef